Hey there, Laurel here. Welcome to another Simply card making video. I'm going to be making this card in today's video, focusing on that background there. In case you missed it, I am pleased as punched to let you know that I have joined the Crafters Workshop design team. I adore their stencils. They've got some great stencils, 6x6 size and 12x12 size. I have my own collection, and 90% of the stencils I own already are by the Crafters Workshop, so I love them. And when I saw the call, I normally don't apply for calls because, who likes rejection? You know what I'm saying? But I did for this one, and I'm so glad I did. So I will be coming with you a couple projects a month using some of their stencils for the blog. So this is one of them. It's my first. And I wanted to take this stencil and create some texture to it. So before I do that, I wanted to create a nice background that the stencil design will pop off of. So I've got some watercolored cardstock here. I'm using my Gonzai watercolor tablets. I wet the cardstock first with some clean water, and then I'm just going in with some red and orange and just dabbing it here and dabbing it there until I get a look that I want. It's funny because you can see the colors are pretty intense right now, but when they dry, it really gets toned down, muted down a little bit. So keep that in mind when you're doing your watercoloring, that more than likely the colors are going to soften up as it dries, as you can see here. Now this is a stencil I've had forever. It's the Aspen Tree stencil. Again, they do have 12x12 stencils as well for those that like to scrapbook and whatnot. Very affordable prices. So I'm just going to tape my stencil down to the back of the card so it doesn't shift around. And I'm going to be using two products here by Viva, Ferro and Facetin Lac. I don't know how to say it, but it's like a crackle paste. And then the Ferro is like a copper color. It's messy. It's kind of gritty, this Ferro. It's like, think of wet sand. That's kind of what it is. So it goes on pretty gritty. I decided to pair it with that crackle. This is like a crackle paste of sorts here. And so as it dries, it's going to give you a crackle. But I decided to mix the two together. Why not? So this looks like a big hot mess. It's all right. It does. I agree with you. Totally agree with you. So I'm going in because I did want some white showing through. Then I wanted the two colors to mix together. Then I wanted some brown. So I went ahead and peeled that up off my stencil there, and I'm going to let it dry. And as it's drying, I'm going to work on the rest of the card. Now these are two stamp sets by Ellen Hudson from the Essentials by Ellen line. We've got the O Frap stamp set, which is that coffee set. And then the other set is all words, I believe, there to the left. I'm going to use the bear from the stamp set. So I'm going to have some goof ups here. I'm going to go ahead and leave it in the video and explain it to you. I went ahead and mounted those on my mini Misty there, inking it up with some VersaFine ink. Because it's a pigment ink, it'll stay wet longer. And I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle in some clear embossing powder and heat set that because I'm going to watercolor in the images. Now this bear, let me talk to you about this bear. I had never stamped with it before. It's an adorable image and it has a coordinating die set as well as the coffee stamp set. They both have coordinating die sets. The bear is a solid die, which I did not realize at all. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to watercolor my bear and my coffee cup, again using the same Gonzai watercolors because they already have them out. And anytime I watercolor, I typically add water to the image first and then go drop my color in because doing that, the water does all of the work for me. So I'm going to apply a little bit of time here to get some shading with my watercolor. And then it turns out I'm not even going to be able to use this bear because I didn't pay attention to how the die was. The die is a solid die, so it's not something I can see through, and it also scores out the little arms for you on the bear as well. I did not know that. You'll see that in just a second. So I'm going to end up re-stamping the bear and re-watercoloring the bear in just a moment. But I decided to leave my oopsie on the video because I have oopsies every time. If I do not make a card without having an accident, I just don't. As a matter of fact, I just made another card this morning that I filmed, and the whole thing is in the trash along with the video because I messed up. I'm making a slider card and I messed up big time. So deleted the video footage, put the card in the garbage. I'm gonna have to try again. Anyway, okay, so here's where my my discovery of the die comes in. So I'm getting out that die bear and I'm like, oh, it's solid. I can't see. I don't know what's happening here. So it was very hard for me to line the bear up. You see the little arms there? It was hard for me to line the bear up because I couldn't see. So I'm going to end up redoing that. So for this particular die, you're going to want to die cut it first and then stamp it. Okay. So that's what I've done here. So I went ahead and die cut the die from just a watercolor cardstock. Then I went and stamped the bear onto the die cut image, and then I'm going in and watercoloring. So just for this image. This die is adorable. I didn't even know, again, until I used it for the first time, that the little arms are scored. So the arms are going to pop out. Oh, it's so cute. Anyway, so I got some good practice with my watercoloring. Now my coffee cup. I was determined for my bear to hold coffee. I wanted my bear to have coffee. My bear needed some caffeine. So I'm going to cut off that border after all because I needed the cup to be a little bit smaller so it could, now you can see the arms, how they pop up. Isn't that cute? That's all the die. Because I wanted my cup to fit in there. So I just trimmed off that little white border that the die left behind, and voila, it's going to fit in my bear, no problemo. All right, now it's time to work on the sentiment. I didn't know what color cardstock I thought would look the best, so I'm going to go ahead and stamp it on both the chocolate brown and the craft. And that sentiment is from that Let's Frappuccino, I'm thirsty now, stamp set. So I stamped it with some white pigment ink from the ton. I'm going to sprinkle on some embossing powder by Brutus Monroe, Alabaster White, which is like awesome. And I'll go ahead and heat set that. And then I'll kind of hold it up against the card and figure out which color I like better, and bam, I got my sentiment. So while I'm doing all this, my stencil is drying with all that texture paste. Now I did end up taking my heat gun to it a little bit, and it did make the crackle part dry faster. Look at all that crackle. Look at all that texture. You get the dimension from the paste. You get the crackle from the white. It's just stinking cool, in my opinion. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere that panel down to some chocolate brown cardstock there. And I just think that is so cool, and I like the mixtures of the textures, the colors, the whole shebang. I think it's so cool, and that stencil rocks my world. I've had it for a long time. It's an oldie, but it's a classic for me. So there I'm popping up the bear with some foam dimension, popping up that coffee cup with some foam dimension. That bear is going to be all nice and caffeinated. It is not going to hibernate for the winter because it's going to be having some coffee. All right, so I've got some multi-matte medium. I just want to glue the tips of his little paws down there. I got an acrylic block there holding it in place until my glue dries. Then I'm going to go ahead and adhere my sentiment, and then boom, we're done. So I decided to go with chocolate brown. I thought it went better. So I'm just going to trim it down a little bit. Again, add some adhesive to the back of that strip and pop that baby down. At this point, as always, I probably thought, do I need to add some shine? Do I need to add my Spectrum Noir glitter pen? Do I? And I decided I didn't. So here's the card. The texture from that stencil. Oh my goodness. It's just fantastic. I love the caffeinated bear. I think it's hilarious. And yeah, thanks for joining me today. I'll catch you my next video.